Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Gangrene Against the World podcast. I'm Allan Simon. The New York Jets are 0-4. The New York Jets lose to the Miami Dolphins 27-21 in a game where that score just simply does not show just how embarrassing of a night this was for the Jets. Aaron Glenn stood at midfield last week in Tampa Bay after a loss in which, if it wasn't for a miracle play by Will McDonald on special teams, we would have been talking about another no-show and another embarrassment by the Jets. Instead, it looks a little bit better. They don't quit, and they lose on a field goal at the end of regulation to go 0-3. And he clapped at midfield, and he celebrated it, and he said in the postgame press conference that these were not the same old Jets. And he said it with such arrogance, and he said it with disgust at the question itself, how could you even say that this Jets team is the same old Jets? And then they play against the Miami Dolphins, a team that is ranked as the worst defensive team in all of football, and a team that, although they can pop with points every so often, looked like a broken team. It looked like a team that would be firing their head coach first here in the NFL season. And after Aaron Glenn said that these are not the same old Jets, I wanted to take a look at what they accomplished tonight as he tried to define them as a different team. First, they committed a season high in penalties, 13 penalties for 101 yards. Then they had 3 turnovers, 2 of them on special teams. One of them with Isaiah Williams fielding a ball that would have went out of bounds, and then he fumbled. Now, Isaiah Williams also called for a fair catch standing on his own 2-yard line in a game that the Jets were theoretically still in. And that's coaching. That's coaching. That's a position where the guy does not know what to do in 2 different plays on special teams. In the red zone, the Jets were 0-2. The Jets let the Dolphins run the offense they always run. Play action, rollouts, a lot of movement across the field. Sauce Gardner looked completely lost trying to chase Tyreek down before Tyreek Hill had a gruesome injury. And then the same thing with Jalen Waddle. And really with no discernible difference making in this game whatsoever besides another penalty for Sauce Gardner, the highest paid corner who looks lost sometimes on the field. It is literally pointing in the direction of where the ball is going instead of tracking someone down and making a tackle. The secondary continues to hold, and they hand check, and they never play the ball. And speaking of playing the ball, for the 4th straight game, the Jets have not turned over the ball on defense. That is tied for the 2nd longest streak in team history. They went 5 straight games in 2018. On 3rd and longer than 4, they handed the ball off 3 separate times, meaning they don't believe in Justin Fields to throw the ball downfield, even though he threw the ball pretty effectively today and made some plays on offense, but they essentially gave up and ran the ball 3 times on a possession in which they're trying to come back in this game in the second half. There was also a play, Steve Wilks in all of his defensive wisdom had Will McDonald on 3rd and 7 drop back into zone coverage on the part of the field where Tyreek Hill is lined up. Instead of having your best pass rusher rush the passer against an offensive line that has really struggled, Steve Wilks, in all of his genius, decided that, you know what, let me take our best player and have him do something that he never does, which is back up and try to defend one of the most electric receivers in all of football. And you will be shocked to hear this. They converted that 3rd down. The Dolphins were the worst passing defense according to Pro Football Focus, and they continually had 6 offensive linemen in the game to run the ball, when every other team was just fine running the ball against them with 5 offensive linemen. But instead, you take 1 less receiver off the field, and then once Miami finally adjusted to it, and you run the ball 3 straight times on multiple possessions, guess what? You can't convert anything, and you have a lot of 3rd and mediums and 3rd and longs, one because you can't stop committing penalties because this is the team of accountability that can't stop committing boneheaded penalties. So then you don't want Justin Fields to throw downfield or, God forbid, throw it to Garrett Wilson, and you continuously punt the ball. And luckily, McNamara is a great punter and had another nice day today. And then, in this world of accountability, we somehow see Allan Lazard lining up on offense. Once again, this veteran leader who's supposed to be here because he blocks really well and because he gives a little presence to this team. He lines up and commits a pre-snap penalty. He then does catch a pass in which he can't run. He looks like he's running in quicksand. And the beautiful moment to put this all together is after more penalties, The Jets have a fourth down with 7 minutes left, down 2 scores, and the Jets punt. The Jets give up on the game. Now, they do come back and they score a touchdown because, hey, guess what? You can throw against the Miami Dolphins. It's not that hard. You have an offensive line that's actually playing pretty well. Blitzes have been a problem, but 5 blocking 5, the Jets line I thought was really good. And Justin Fields marches right down the field, finds Garrett Wilson in the end zone. Garrett Wilson makes an amazing touchdown catch. He has an interaction with Aaron Glenn on the sideline that was heated and looked like Garrett Wilson was very upset, and he should be. He was demanding the ball. You have to find a way to get your best player the ball, especially when you came into the season with all of Darren Muji's wisdom and didn't bring in a second receiver. By the way, Josh Reynolds was wide open on multiple third downs, and Justin Fields, who holds on to the ball longer than any quarterback in the NFL, didn't hit him. So there's a lot going on here. But Aaron Glenn sat here last week and told us, Jets fans, through the New York media, that these are not the same old Jets. And he's right. This is worse than the same old Jets. This is a defense that is worse. Steve Wilks has been a head coach in this league and defensive coordinator for a long time. Aaron Glenn was a defensive coordinator and is now getting his head coaching job because of that. And this defense is markedly worse than it was under Robert Saleh. This defense continues to just grab onto people in the secondary. We also had a touchdown play in which Sauce Gardner somewhat effectively takes out a lead blocker to force the running back towards the inside, and then 5 Jets missed tackles, including Tony Adams, who, hey, we're going to start Tony Adams again instead of our nice third-round draft pick, and he whiffs on that tackle once again. This game was only 6 points, and that is just a testament to the fact that the Dolphins aren't good. The Dolphins aren't any good. This was supposed to be a team you can scheme against easily. They can't stop anyone. They can't do anything right on defense. And the Jets run themselves out of a game through the same mistakes, even more mistakes that they've been making in the past. But this is the era of accountability with Aaron Glenn. This is Aaron Glenn saying we are not the same old Jets. And you know what? If you look at the history of one-and-done head coaches, the teams look like this. The teams do everything wrong. On all 3 phases, outside of Nick Folk, God bless him, kicking 2 50-yard field goals, has a career long from 58 yards. We have a rookie punter who looks really good. You take out of just the ability to kick a ball, which is not coaching, anything that was coaching related, for another game, the Jets were completely outclassed by a head coach who's going to lose his job this year. And that's an embarrassment. The Jets should be embarrassed. Aaron Glenn should be embarrassed. Garrett Wilson has to hate himself for signing that contract extension. Sauce Gardner has to be doing backflips, that he's the highest paid corner and can't stop anyone. And anytime he's lined up against an elite wide receiver, he completely falls on his face. The officiating was not good tonight, and there was plenty of post-whistle plays that did not go the Jets' way, and that's whatever. You commit 13 penalties for 101 yards, it doesn't matter. You turn the ball over 3 times, it doesn't matter. You, once again, are unable to make an explosive play on defense because you play the same boring defensive scheme over and over and over again, then it doesn't matter. You don't deserve to get a call after the whistle. You don't deserve to get these calls. You're not playing a competitive game, and you're making more dumb mistakes than the other team, and that's what ends up happening. Officials just kind of get used to throwing a flag against you the same way an umpire in baseball, when a pitcher loses the zone, is used to calling balls. So the Jets are 0-4. They play a Cowboys team that just scored 40 points against the Packers. I ask you, how many points will the Cowboys score at MetLife Stadium against the Jets on Sunday? Will it be 70 points? Will they score in every single possession? Is there anything that you can show me that says this Jets defense, who only had to play 30 minutes on the field because the Jets ran the ball so much, despite all the penalties and the 3 turnovers, time possession was pretty much split, and they continuously can never make a big stop. They did one time when McNamara had a nice punt and they flipped the field position. They ended up having a nice stop, and then it didn't matter. At the end of the game, there's not enough time left to really make a difference. It's a joke. This year was not about making the playoffs. We talked about what would be the things that had to go perfectly for the Jets to win 9 games? Can they win 8 games? Can they be competitive? It is fair to now say, hey, what are the things that can go right that this team wins 3 games? Why do the Broncos, who are currently winning on Monday Night Football, feel like they can't beat the Jets when they go to Europe? The Cowboys are probably licking their chops. They have an opportunity to come off a nice performance on Sunday Night Football, where although they are disappointed with a tie, they still played the Packers really well. They're going to feast on this Jets defense. The Panthers are saying, hell yeah, we're going to get a win because we get to play the Jets. This is amazing. They cannot be happier to see Aaron Glenn standing on the other side of the field. It's just, 10 years of terrible, terrible football, and it always looks a little different. It's always disguised in different hope, and I try to be optimistic. It is our job as fans to talk ourselves into thinking, hey, if these things go right, it is worth watching Jets football. It is not worth watching Jets football. Against my better judgment, I'll be there on Sunday at MetLife Stadium because I like tailgating. I like eating pork roll, egg, and cheeses in the morning, drinking a beer at 8:30. This is all stuff I really enjoy. I don't enjoy watching the New York Jets. And yet I continue to do it. I will pull out a few positives because, the Jets did put up 400 yards today against the Dolphins. And, you think about that first drive with Braylon Allen and you feel terrible that Allen had a terrible injury. Oh, by the way, why is Braylon Allen returning kicks? What are we doing? You're taking your thickest guy, your guy who takes the most hits in between the tackles, and you're going to let it be open season against him as he's returning kicks, and he's not even a good returner. And of course, he has a really gruesome injury, and it seems like he's going to miss some time. But that fumble was really bad. That fumble changed the entire game. You held on to the ball for forever. You're running the ball down their throats before they can adjust. And Braylon Allen continues what's been a disastrous, campaign for the young running back. You also had multiple times, I know I said I was about to be positive, but this made me think of other stupid things this team is doing, like, hey, it's 3rd down and 6. Why don't we bring in Isaiah Davis instead of Breece Hall? And Isaiah Davis is a nice player, but you need to make plays. You have Breece Hall on the sideline. You have multiple 3rd down plays. You have 3rd and 20, and I know it's 3rd and 20, whatever. Breece Hall's on the sideline. You only have 2 great skill position players. Put them on the field. That first drive was a killer. You fumble the ball. You then, you take so much time off the clock, and then after what should have been a tie game, you're down 10-0. It was a disaster. But I said I'd be positive, so let me pull out a few positives. Mason Taylor looked really nice today. He had a good game. He also played smart football on a team playing some of the dumbest football you'll ever see. He's catching the ball and knowing where the first down marker is multiple times. He finally blocked a little bit better, although we'll see how he grades out, but it looked like he blocked a little bit better. He's pretty much played Jeremy Ruckert off of the field because he's played really well, and they bring in 6 offensive linemen, so you don't also need Ruckert out there, and Taylor looked good. And Taylor looked like at least some sort of safety valve for Justin Fields when he's hanging on to the ball too long. I thought Justin Fields played fine. He holds on to the ball 3.5 seconds per pass. That is too long. It's a testament to the line being better, but he needs to step into pockets and not out of them from the back. It only hurts your tackles when you don't have your quarterback planting and throwing. It loses, the angle they have when he's dropping back 10 yards. It's open season then, and then he has to scramble for his life. The touchdown run was magnificent. It was the most obvious, predictable play call. The whole world knew you were going to do play action and roll out. They guessed the right side, and Justin Fields does what he can do, which is why teams get tantalized by bringing him in, because he can be special running the football. Throwing the ball, he was okay. He was okay. He took his shots at Garrett Wilson. The one pass interference on him, is it a little soft? Yeah, but you know what? You plant your hand in the guy's chest and shove right in front of the official. They're going to call it. Nick Folk, again, God bless the guy. He's older than dirt, kicking 58-yard field goals. I do think that the 2 young tackles played well today. I thought Membu looked like he ran blocked a lot better. His grades were going in the wrong direction in weeks 2 and 3. Thought Fashanu was good. All these pressures, and I said it last week, and then I heard on the postgame show Connor Rogers talking about it, and it's true. Fashanu's got hit with a lot of pressures that were from blitzes where they're being outmanned on the outside. And we've seen multiple times where Max Mitchell or Joe Tittman, they're blocking air while there's two guys rushing on the edge and Fashanu is desperately trying to get a hold of someone. Here we are again, 0-4. If you want to see some symmetry that will make you want to vomit, Adam Gase's first win came after being 0-4, and it came against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 5 when Sam Darnold came back from mono. So if Aaron Glenn wants to say he's not the same old Jets, it would be ironic if his win mirrors the worst head coach I've ever seen in my entire life, and Adam Gase. Oh boy, it's a short week, so Sunday will be here before we know it. Hopefully your fantasy teams are doing well if you're Jets fans. It gives you some reason to watch on Sundays. But this was a debacle, an absolute debacle. I wish they were blown out because 27-21 makes it seem like that they were worthy to be on that football field. It's only because the Dolphins stink. The Dolphins are terrible. They're so bad. The Jets could have scored 40 points on this team if they don't turn the ball over and commit stupid penalties. And that's what makes it even worse. They should have won this football game. They should have won this football game easily. The talent isn't great, but it matches up fine against the Dolphins, and you go ahead and you lose. The last thing I'm going to say, because I know it's going to start to come up, tanking. Jets are 0-4. Jets have the worst turnover differential in football. Even though the schedule is pretty weak, it doesn't matter. This team is, right now, as it stands, is not going to win a lot of football games. I just want to remind people, though, that tanking doesn't work. Since 2000, there has not been a first overall pick that was drafted by the team picking first and won a Super Bowl for that team. Eli Manning was drafted first by the Chargers, was traded to the Giants. The Giants did not have the first overall pick in that draft. In the history of football, there have been 3 number 1 overall picks to be drafted by a team first, and then they win a Super Bowl for that team. It's only happened 3 times ever. In the history of the NFL, tanking doesn't work. What does work is building the right team so when you find a quarterback, you can be successful. 9 teams passed on Patrick Mahomes, teams that were trying to lose games, and you miss because you don't really know. There's no Peyton Manning in this draft. There is no Andrew Luck in this draft, and we all know how Andrew Luck turned out, right? There's no guarantees. Build a team that can win, and then hit on your first picks. And luckily, the Jets should not have to draft an offensive lineman again with their first picks because they've done that for 4 of their last 5. But I already can I know that the tanking talk is going to start on Twitter, and it's going to make me want to just, say mean things to people on the internet, and I don't want to be that guy. Well, The Jets are 0-4. They have the Cowboys on Sunday. This has been episode 18 of the Gangrene Against the World podcast. I'm Allan Simon. Thank you for listening.